Is the sound on? You can hear me? The sound is on? Okay. This is not working. Are you getting video? Not this. Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah, good. And you have the lecture and the sound. Okay. All right, so we're continuing with chapter 4. We did superposition last time. Okay, so a new theorem called source transformation. The source transformation, this is the definition that you have in the textbook. The source transformation is the process of replacing a voltage source in series with a resistor by a current source in parallel with a resistor, or vice versa. Okay? So you notice that the voltage source is always in series with the resistor. We never have a voltage source in parallel with the resistor as a source. Always the source has a resistor in series. And same thing for the current source, the resistor is always going to be in parallel. Now, source transformation is the process of replacing one model, which is the model of the first source, where you have voltage source in series with resistor, by a second model, which is the current source in parallel with resistor, or vice versa. The two sources are equivalent if these two equations apply. What does that mean? It means if you have a voltage source which has a value of Vs in series with resistor R, you can replace them by a current source Is in parallel with the resistor also of value R, and it will give you exactly the same effect on your circuit. It will act exactly like the same source. It will give you the same, if this is affecting the rest of the circuit, then it's going to affect it in the same way, producing the same voltages and the same currents in the rest of your circuit. As long as your current source Is is equal to your original voltage source Vs divided by R. Okay? So this is what we call source transformation. If you want to go the other way around, if you're starting off with the current source Is in parallel with resistor R, and you want to replace that within a circuit with another combination which would have the same effect, in that case it would be a voltage source Vs in series with a resistance, it would act exactly the same, it would have the same effect on the rest of your circuit as long as the resistor has the same value. So the parallel resistor of your current source is going to be the same value as the series resistance of your voltage source. And you put the voltage source Vs equal to the current source Is times R. If you take care of these, then these two sources, or these two, excuse me, source and resistor combinations together are going to be totally equivalent. So how do we know that they're equivalent? What tells us that they're equivalent? We say they're equivalent if you put any load between the two nodes A and B. So if you take the extreme cases, if you say, okay, if I have an open circuit between A and B, how much voltage would you see from the left-hand circuit, which is that voltage so series with RS? So the S in series with R. If you know how much is the open circuit voltage, the voltage between A and B, you'll find that there is no current flowing because it's an open circuit, right? And if there is no current flowing, then there is no drop on your resistor, which means that the voltage across from A to B is the same voltage across your voltage source itself. I'll draw it here. A, B, R. I'm looking for this called the open circuit. Now, there is no current here, right? Because this is an open circuit. Which means that there is no drop here. And this node are going to be exactly at the same voltage. They're not the same node, but because there's no current, so R really has no effect. There's no voltage drop in here. So the voltage VOC, which is the voltage difference between node A and B, is the same as between this node and B. This and that are the same potential. So this obviously is Vs, okay? VOC equals Vs. Now, if I compare that with the current source, in this case, you have a current flowing like that, because here it's still open circuit. So all the current IS has to flow through the resistor. It cannot go through the open circuit. So this is your current IS, which is going to give you a voltage across the resistor like that, which is the V open circuit that we're seeking. So V open circuit is going to be equal from here, IS times R. Okay, and as we mentioned, if the two sources are to be equivalent in the source transformation process, they would be equivalent if you make sure that Vs equals ISR, which is what we're having here. Okay? So this is just to show you that these two combinations give you the same open circuit voltage. We can do the same thing to know how much I'm getting if I have the other extreme resistance, which is the short circuit current. I'm going to do this now. How much is the short circuit current between A and B? I short circuit. That's this current. There's only one current in the loop, and this current is equal to Vs over R. I'm going to try to find the short circuit current in the second combination. This is the short circuit current. You have a current here, IS. Remember when you have two resistors in parallel, and we did the special case if one of them is actually resistance equal to 0, which is the case we have here, then the total current, if it's trying to divide between those two in parallel, it's going to favor the lower resistance. And if this one is 0, then the total current is going to go here. So no current is going to go through your resistor. The whole current IS is going to flow here. So I short circuit is IS. And if you compare these two, you have IS equals Vs over R. Again, which is the same equation basically, but it's just to show that When you have an open circuit, both these circuits give you the same open circuit voltage. When you have a short circuit current, both these circuits give you the same short circuit current, as long as this equation is satisfied. And this is what we call source transformation. So how do we use that? I'm going to illustrate that on an example 4.6. The problem says use source transformation to find V naught in the circuit. So, we want to find this voltage, V naught, using source transformation. So this is what we're going to do. Look at that. This is a voltage source in series with a resistance in parallel with a resistance between those two nodes, which are these two nodes that we actually are interested in. So what do I have? The resistor is the same value, so I put 3 ohm here. And the current source is going to be V over R, 12 over 3, so you get it to 4 amps. So this is what you have here. This one replaces this one. And then I have the rest of my circuit. Right? 8 ohm, 2 ohm. But look at something else here. I'm going to take this one. This one is a current source in parallel with a resistor, and I'm going to replace that with a voltage source in series with a resistor. I just want you to notice the polarity. Sorry. It's a voltage source, minus and plus. If the current is going downwards, then the plus and minus, are inverted here. So this is plus here, and this is minus. So for this one to be equivalent to the one we had on top, you have to use the same value of resistor, which is 4 ohm, and the voltage is going to be equal to 3 times 4, that's 12 volts. Okay. And this is V naught that we have. Once you perform these source transformations like that, you're going to discover that you have the opportunities. So for example, these are 4 ohm and 2 ohm in series, that gives you 6 ohm. And then I'm going to do a source transformation on the source transformation that I already did, which means I'm going to take my, see here I have that, right? 6 ohm and 12 volts. That's what I have here. I'm going to take that, I'm going to take that, and I'm going to replace it with the current source in parallel with this. So again, it's going, the arrow is going downwards because the plus is down. And the resistor is in parallel. The resistor is always the same value as the one above, which is 6 ohm. And this now is 12 divided by 6, that's 2 amps. And the rest of the circuit is still here. And I want the voltage there. So you notice that the voltage there, V0, is the only voltage I have in the whole circuit now. This is really the voltage difference between this node and this node. Okay? So I'm going to pull all those resistors together. I'm going to have one resistor like that, and I'm going to have one current source like that. The current source is going to be 4 minus 2, because this one goes upward, this one goes downward, so I am in the direction of the upwards one, that's plus 4. This is like a minus 2, so I get 4 minus 2 amps. And here, the resistor here is really 6 parallel with 8 parallel with 3. Oh. And these are still my 2 rows, and I have my V0 like that. So that gives you two amps, and 6 parallel with 8 parallel with 3, what do we have? Let's take 6 parallel with 3. That's 2 amps. And then 2 parallel with 8. Sorry, that's 2 ohm. That's 1.6 ohm. So here the resistance is 1.6 ohm. And I want the voltage. Therefore, V0 equals 2 times 1.6 equals 3.2 volts. Okay? So source transformation is a very nice tool to have in your toolbox. Whenever you want to simplify your circuit using source transformation, you're going to look for a voltage source in series with resistance. You're going to transform that into current source in parallel with resistance, or vice versa. And you're going to keep progressing with your circuit until you get the value of the voltage or the current that you're looking for. Any problem here? Questions? It depends on the circuit. No, you just look at your circuit. It's like a puzzle that you're trying to solve, basically. Okay, you just have to think what is beneficial in every particular situation. Now this one, again, this problem says find the x using source transformation. So, the current source is equal to 2.25 Vx. Now you can apply source transformation on dependent sources, it still works. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to take these two together. And I'm also going to take these two together. So for the first one, 6 and 2, the resistor remains 2 ohm. And the current source I is going to be equal to 6 divided by 2, that's 3 amps. Now for the second one, this is the current source in parallel with the resistor. I'm going to put the resistor in series with the voltage source. The voltage source is going to be a dependent source. Here I have this. So the resistor is still 4 ohm. And the source here, the voltage source, is going to be equal to 0.25 Vx times 4 ohm, so that's Vx. And where is Vx? Vx is between these two nodes, so it's between this and that. That's Vx here. I'm going to take those two parallel resistors together. Two parallel with 2 equals 1 ohm. Remember, if you have two resistors in parallel of the same value, combination is equal to half. So it's 3 parallel with 1, and I'm going to turn that into a voltage source in series with a resistor again. So my resistor is 1 ohm. The voltage source is 3 divided by 3 times 1, which is 3 volts. And then between those two nodes, I still have my Vx like that. And here's the rest of my circuit. Okay. Once you have that, we can write equations that will write the KVL around this loop. We're going to assume I have a current in the loop is equal to I. So let's write KVL. Starting here, going up, this is voltage rise, 3. From here to here, I have a drop of I. From here to here, I have a drop of 4I. A drop of Vx, and a drop of 18. Okay? That's the equation I get here. So you rework that 5I plus Vx equals minus 15. That's one equation that you have. I need to write a second equation, and I need to write an equation which has Vx. And Vx is the voltage between these two nodes, this here and this here. So to do that, I'm going to write, again, I'm going to use KVL, but I'm going to use it maybe in it's going to look a little bit unconventional. But the idea is, remember here, it's almost like you have an open circuit like that, because there are no elements here, right? And across these two nodes, you have Vx. So I'm going to go write my KVL around this loop. It's as if I'm jumping around my open circuit. It's okay with KVL because I know the voltage from here to there. So I can kind of go around that. It's not a real loop, but I can still do it, yes. Yes. Of course. I did source transformation 3 amp in parallel with 1 amp with 1 ohm. It became 3 volts in series with 1 ohm. That's a source transformation I did here. Okay. So now I'm going to go around that, and I'm going to write from here to there I have a voltage rise of 3. From here to here I have a voltage drop of, it's still the same current I, right? I times 1, that's I. And from here to here I have a drop of Vx. See? So this is KVL, and that gives you the second equation. So here we have two equations and two unknowns. You can solve them to find Vx. So from here you can say that I equals 3 minus Vx, right? And I'm going to use that here. Let's say 5I, that's 5, 3 minus Vx plus Vx equals minus 15. 15 minus 5Vx plus Vx equals minus 15. and I get 30 equals minus 4b equals, sorry, plus 4ds. dx equals 30 over 4, that's 7.5 volts. Any questions? So source transformation is really a tool. You have to kind of train yourself to spot the situations where you can use source transformation. But the application of it is kind of simple. You replace a voltage source in series with resistance. You replace that with a current source in parallel with resistance, such that the value of the current source I is equal to V divided by R. And the resistor that you put with parallel with your current source has the same value as the resistance that you had in series with your voltage source. And you also learn to do it vice versa. Okay. A new theorem. This one is called Thevenin's theorem. Thevenin's theorem states this. It says that a linear two-terminal circuit can be replaced by an equivalent circuit consisting of a voltage source in series with a resistor. That's what the theory says. It says any linear two-terminal circuit can be replaced by an equivalent circuit consisting of a voltage source that we're going to call V Thevenin, VTH, in series with a resistor R Thevenin, or R sub TH. If you look at the diagram, on top you have a box that says linear two-terminal circuits. What that means is any chunk of circuitry, any combination of linear elements, inside this box you can have voltage sources, current sources, and resistors in series or in parallel, in any combination or any form, and any number of them. Okay? So it can be quite a complicated circuit. It can be anything, as long as it has two terminals that are labeled here A and B. And then this part of the circuit is connected to something else that we're calling a load. The load is usually a resistor. What the theory says is that linear two-terminal circuit, whatever you have within that box, can be modeled as a simple voltage source in series with the resistance, regardless of the complexity of the circuit inside the box. Okay, so that's the idea here. Thevenin is a modeling tool. You take a big circuit, which can be quite complicated, with lots of sources and resistors, and you can simplify that by representing all of the circuits with just one voltage source in series with one resistance. The voltage source we're going to call it V Thevenin, and the resistance we're going to call it R Thevenin. Okay. V Thevenin is the open circuit voltage at the terminals. Now this tells you how you actually find the value of this voltage V Thevenin to put in your model. You take your linear two-terminal circuit. See, now we remove the load. You see that? I'm looking just at my circuits without the load. I'm looking at whatever is there in that box. And as I mentioned, it can be complicated. It can have several sources and many resistors, whatever number, doesn't matter. And you try to, you remove the load, and now you have those two terminals A and B. You try to find the open circuit voltage between those two nodes. I'm going to call that V Thevenin. This is going to be the value of the voltage source in your model. And you're trying to find the resistance R Thevenin. That's the equivalent resistance at the terminals with the independent sources turned off. You're going to look inside your big circuit in there. You're going to turn off all of your independent sources. And you're going to measure the resistance between those two nodes A and B. The value of resistance that you're going to find is going to be the value of this R Thevenin that you put in your model. Okay? So here we say V Thevenin is the open circuit of your linear two-terminal circuit, and R Thevenin is R in, the input resistance that you measure between those two terminals. So remember, you remove the load, you look at your circuit, You try to find the open circuit across those two terminals. You try to find the resistance that you measure between those two terminals when all independent sources have been turned off. And you're going to use those two values, the voltage and the resistance, to build a model. That model is going to be representing your circuit. So in a sense, you're really simplifying it. So finding R Thevenin, we're going to see that there are several ways to find R Thevenin. The first method, say directly, just reduce all the sources, the independent sources inside your circuit to 0, and you're going to be left with resistance. You measure that resistance, that's your R Thevenin. That's the direct method. And that works well in most cases, but somehow it doesn't really work when you have dependent sources. What you do, you find R Thevenin, that resistance, by connecting a voltage source. You say, I'm going to connect a voltage source which is called a test source. In this case, called V0. And you try to measure how much I0 is. Okay? You say R Thevenin is going to be V0 divided by I0. Usually, this source that you put from the outside, you say, I'm going to put a voltage source of maybe 1 volt. Because it's kind of a test source. And you try to see how much current is going to go through your circuit. And R Thevenin is going to be V0 divided by I0. The third method is by current knots, and then you divide V0 by I0, and whatever you have is going to be your R Thevenin. So basically, there are 3 ways to find R Thevenin. We're going to practice them. We're going to solve problems and exercises. So you're going to see how we apply the 3 of them. Okay. Example. Find the Thevenin equivalent circuit shown to the left of the terminals AB. So here you see you have a circuit, and you have 2 terminals AB. And we want to assume that everything on the left of those 2 terminals, A and B, is going to be our linear 2-terminal circuit. It's like we put all of that in a box. And I want the Thevenin equivalent of that. Then, find the current through RL when RL is equal to 6 ohms, 16 ohms, and 36 ohms. So I'm going to worry about the first part first. Here is our circuit. Four ohm, 12 ohm. Two amps. 1 ohm, and I'm stopping here because these are my 2 terminals A and B, right? So what do we want to do? We want to find first V Thevenin, which would be the open circuit voltage that you would measure between those 2 nodes, A and B. I want to find what's the open circuit voltage between these 2. Okay. You can use any method you like. We're still talking about, so we could do it with source transformation for sure, but let's just think what we can do. Yeah, I'm going to take these 2. I'm going to replace that by a current source in parallel with resistance. Right? So this is I equals D over R, that's 32 over 4, that's 8 amps. And my 4 ohm comes here. And here's the rest of the circuit. That's A and B. So these 2 are in parallel. 4 parallel with 12 equals 3 ohm. And I also have the 8 and the 2 in parallel, those two current sources. Remember, when you have current sources in parallel, you can take them, you can sum them up. So I have a circuit that looks like that. 10 amps, parallel with 3 amps, 1 ohm, A, B. Okay, and I'm looking for the voltage here, the open circuit. You'll notice that by definition, we say it's the open circuit voltage. The open circuit means there's no current flowing through, so you don't have any current here. There's no current flowing through my 1 ohm resistor. So the voltage between A and B is in fact the same voltage between, this node and B. So from here to here, that's also the open circuit. So the open circuit is equal to, you have a current of 10 amps flowing through 3 ohm, so you have 10 times 3. So the voltage V open circuit is this current times this resistance, that's 30 volts. So we're going to say that V Thevenin that we're seeking equals 30 volts. That's the first part of finding the Thevenin equivalent circuit. And then, one ohm, 12 ohm, 4 ohm. You want to find the resistance that you see here, Rn, when the sources have been turned off. So by definition, to find R Thevenin, you look at those two terminals A and B, and you try to find the resistance between those two nodes when the source has been turned off. And we already saw that. How do we turn off a voltage source? Is by making the voltage equal to 0, so that it becomes a short circuit. And how do you turn a current source off? You make the current here equal to 0, so you really open circuit that. So the circuit that you're working on looks like this now. Okay, can we find the resistance? How much is it? How much is this resistance? Yes. How did you find that? You added everything up to it. How can you do that? Are they all in series? Are they? No, they're not. So what do you have? Do you have anything in series? Anything in parallel? 12 and 4 in parallel. Excellent. Exactly. These two are in parallel. 4 parallel 12. Because 12 is connected between this node and this node, and 4 is also connected between the same two nodes. So 4 and 12 are in parallel, that gives you 3 ohm. And then, so the 3 looks like this, right? So Rn now is equal to 3 in series with 1, which is 4 ohm. Okay? So that tells us that R Thevenin equals 4 ohm. That's the second part of applying Thevenin's theorem. The Thevenin equivalent of the circuit shown to the left of terminals A and B. So I found my two values. I have to draw the Thevenin equivalent now. Thevenin equivalent, as we mentioned in the definition, is a voltage source V Thevenin in series with a resistor R Thevenin. 30 volts in series with 4 ohm. Is it on again? Okay. So now I'm going to redraw the original circuit like this. And what you have is within this blue box is the Thevenin equivalent of the original circuit to the left of nodes A and B. And here I put my RL back again. So now I have a very simple circuit, right? I have 30 volts in series with 4 ohm in series with RL. Now I can find whatever else they're trying to find within. So it says find the current. Let's call it IL. When RL equals 6 ohm, and then when RL equals 16 ohm, and then when RL equals 36 ohm. So first case, if RL is 6 ohm, you have a circuit that looks like that. And you're trying to find the current, IL. Okay? So the current IL is equal to, I mean, you can take 4 and 6 in series, you get 10 ohm, and the current is going to be 30 divided by 10. So it's going to be like that. Okay. Now, what happens if RL is 16 ohm? You replace the 6 ohm here with 16 ohm. And you're going to have 4 in series with 16, that's 20. and the current is going to be 30 divided by 20. So it's very easy, right? So if RL equals 16 ohm, I equals 30 divided by 4 plus 16. That's 30 divided by 20, that's 3 over 2 amps. What happens if RL equals 36 ohm? I equals 30 over 4 plus 36. That's 3/4 of an amp. And so forth. Now, what did we do? I want you to look at the example on the screen, the example 4.8 that we had. You have a circuit, and you have a variable load. See RL, when you have a resistance and you have an arrow on it like that, see the red arrow on the resistance means that it's a variable resistance. It means that it's a value that can be changed. That's what this symbol means. It tells you want to find the current through it when RL equals 6 ohm, when RL equals 16 ohm, and when RL equals 36 ohm. So it's really like you have 3 different situations. If you did not use the Thevenin equivalent, you could still, take that circuit, write RL equals 4 ohm, and try to solve that big circuit all at once. And that's okay. You can solve that and try to find the current through that 6 ohm resistance. But then, if you wanted to solve it again when RL equals 16 ohm, then you had to solve the problem all over again from scratch, right? You change the value, you have to solve the whole circuit again. And if RL is 36 ohm, then you have to put it in this circuit and then solve it from scratch again. Now, the beauty of the Thevenin equivalent circuit is that it took all of those elements together to the left of the nodes A and B, and it reduced that to a very simple voltage source in series with resistance. And that's what we had here, okay, in the on the paper here, the Thevenin equivalent circuit. So this Thevenin equivalent circuit, 30 volt in series with 4 ohm, represents all of that circuit, like those two sources and 3 resistors all together. So now I can use one 6 ohm, one 16 ohm, and one time 36 ohm. It becomes very easy to solve. So Thevenin is a great tool to have when you want to reduce a big chunk of circuitry into something very simple, and then you can reuse that. And it's also a very good tool for modeling. So I can say I want a model for all of this circuit made up of 2 sources and 3 resistors, which is at the left of my 2 nodes A and B. So you can model that using Thevenin, and then you're using your model to represent that circuit in different situations. Okay? Any questions? Now, an alternative way of finding R Thevenin is R Thevenin is V open circuit divided by I short circuit. So there are many ways to find it. All of them are applicable. All of them are going to give you the same value of R Thevenin. So that's also a very cool trick. V open circuit VOC, that's the one we already found. That's the 30 volts we found in that problem. I could take that same circuit without removing my sources that are doing anything. I create a short circuit between the 2 nodes A and B, and I try to find the current flowing through that short circuit, I short circuit. And if I find that, then dividing V open circuit by I short circuit gives you, again, the value of R Thevenin. Okay? So that's what you would do. You would create a short circuit, and you would say V open circuit divided by I short circuit gives you R Thevenin. So there are many different ways, different tools to find R Thevenin. Okay, another example. This one here has a dependent source. Find the Thevenin equivalent of the short circuit at terminals AB. So we don't have a load to discard here. You're taking all of that circuit, it's like all of that is in one box, and you want to reduce that to a Thevenin equivalent circuit or a Thevenin model. which means you want to find the open circuit between those two terminals A and B. You want to find the equivalent resistance, R Thevenin, between those two terminals. You're going to use that to form your Thevenin equivalent circuit. Okay. So, first step, you're going to find the voltage across your open circuit. That's what you need to find. And again, because it's an open circuit, there is no current flowing here, which means this resistor is not going to affect my answer, my solution. The open circuit, in fact, is the same as the voltage between this node and the bottom one. That's the open circuit as well. That's the voltage you're looking for. So you can do that in whichever way, yes? This one. Because the voltage here, that's what I'm looking for, the voltage difference between this one and this one. Okay? Now the voltage here is the same as the voltage there because there's no current flowing, there's no drop in that resistor. Okay? So the voltage here is the same as the voltage there. And that's why that 2 ohm, it's really floating in the air. That is, it's a 2 ohm resistor to nowhere within an open circuit. Okay, so it's not gonna come into your work. Okay, so since we were learning about source transformation, I'm going to do that using source transformation. I'm going to take these two together. On second thought, this is not going to be very useful because this one is, we start with this one. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do a node. I'm going to do a node. So I'm going to say this is ground. I have a voltage here that's Vx, and a voltage here that's VOC. You see, these are already kind of being labeled for me because the voltage here is already labeled as Vx from there. So instead of calling it V1 and then saying Vx equals V1, I'm going to label that Vx. Instead of calling that V2, this is already my open circuit. So these are my two variables here. I'm going to do a node the right way. I'm going to say KVL, sorry, KCL at node Vx. So current flowing in. Oh, I have a problem with that because I have a voltage source here. Okay, so I'm going to have to use a super node. There you go. So the current flowing into the supernode has to be equal to the current flowing out of the supernode. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to say KCL around my supernode. Or at my supernode. And this is my supernode here. So I have this current flowing in. I have a current here flowing out. And then I have another current here flowing out. So what do? We have this current flowing in that's 5 equals this one, that's Vx over 4, plus this one, which is the open circuit over 6. Okay? I'm going to rework that, so I have to do 60 equals 3Vx plus 2 VOC, or, yeah, so that would be my first equation, right? Okay, the other equation, if you remember when you have the supernode, the other equation comes from inside your supernode. It comes from here. This one says that VOC minus Vx, because I have plus minus like that, so VOC minus Vx equals to 2Vx. VOC minus Vx equals 2Vx, which means VOC equals 3Vx. Okay? So we're going to use that in here, and you get 60 equals 3Vx plus 2VOC, which is 3Vx, equals 9Vx. Vx equals 60 over 9 volts. I'm interested in the VOC, the open circuit. Three Vx, 3 times 60 over 9, that's 60 over 3, that's 20 volts. So the open circuit is 20 volts. So I used the node voltage method with the concept of a supernode to find the open circuit. Yes? Sorry? 3Vx. Yeah, that's 3Vx here. Okay? So I use a node voltage approach with the concept of the supernode to solve this circuit and find the voltage across the 6 ohm resistor, which is 20 volts, and that's my V open circuit. So I got my V open circuit. Now I have to find my R Thevenin, my resistor. So if you look at that, the previous example, I had only independent sources, and when you remove your independent sources, it becomes easy because you just have some resistors in series and in parallel. But now we have dependent sources. Okay, so so I have to find another way of finding my value of my resistor. What I'm going to do, I'm going to use that latest concept that I just introduced. Okay, I'm going to say that's R Thevenin equals V open circuit divided by I short circuit. I'm going to use that as an illustration. Okay, so I'm going to draw the original circuit by putting a short circuit. It's going to look like that. Right? And I want this current, I short circuit. I'm going to again do a node because it worked well. And you have this one. Okay. Supernode. And I'm going to write my KCL. So 5 is equal to the sum of those three flowing out. This one is Vx over 4, plus this one is V1 over 6, plus this one is I short circuit. Okay? Currents flowing in is equal to the sum of the currents flowing out. And notice I short circuit, in fact, is equal to V1 over 2. See that? Because that's the voltage V1. This current here is V1 over the resistance. So it's V1 over 2. I need to use that in here because I want all of my KCL equations to be in terms of my node voltages. So I have Vx and V1. So 5 is equal to Vx over 4 plus V1 over 6 plus V1 over 2. And I will rework this equation. This is 5 equals Vx over 4 plus 4 V1 over 6, right? Or I can have 60 equals 3 Vx plus 40 V1. No. Sorry. Sorry, plus 8 V1. Yeah. Okay, so that's my first equation. The second equation, again, we're going to get it from the supernode. The second equation is V1 minus Vx equals to Vx. V1 equals 3 Vx. I need to solve these two simultaneously. I need to find V1. Vx plus 24 Vx. That's 27 Vx. Gives you Vx equals 60 over 27. And we're looking for V1. V1 is equal to 3 Vx. That's 3 times 60 over 27. That's 60 over 9. That's 20 over 3 volts. Okay. What I'm really looking for is I short circuit, and I short circuit, we define it here as being V1 over 2. That's 10 over 3 amps. So we have the open circuit. I need to find R Thevenin. I got I short circuit. I'm going to go back to this equation here. Okay. R Thevenin is the open circuit divided by I short circuit. So R Thevenin is equal to 20 divided by 10 over 3. So that's 6 ohm. Okay, so I came from here and I went to the left. Okay, so that's another way to find R Thevenin, and you can use that when you have dependent sources because you cannot disable them. Any questions? So to find the Thevenin equivalence, what you need to do at the end, obviously, is just to draw. I'm going to do that. Here, you just need to draw the Thevenin equivalent circuit. This is the Thevenin equivalent, and this is equal to a resistance of 6 ohm and a voltage source of 20 volts. So this is your Thevenin equivalent. Any questions? Okay, so that was Thevenin equivalence. I want to show you something. We started off today with the concept of source transformation. And this is the Thevenin equivalent circuit, which is made of voltage source in series with the resistance. Now, if I wanted to do a source transformation, on that, what would you get? You would get a current source in parallel with the resistance, right? The value of the resistance here would be the same as R Thevenin, and the current source would be V Thevenin over R Thevenin, right? Now, remember when we said that R Thevenin is equal to V open circuit over I short circuit? And V open circuit is V Thevenin, right? Because V Thevenin is computed by finding V open circuit, which means that R Thevenin, right, from here. And that brings me to this. So V Thevenin over R Thevenin is really equal to I short circuit. What does that mean? It means that the Thevenin equivalent circuit, I'm going to write that here, Thevenin equivalent circuit can also be represented like this, right? And here you have I short circuit. But in that case, this one is called the Norton equivalent circuit. And this I short circuit is really called I Norton. And this R Thevenin sometimes is also called R Norton. So we produce that just by doing source transformation on this. Okay? You get this circuit where you have the same resistor here and you have current source which is equal to I short circuit. And we got that from the definition of our Thevenin that we've already used. Let's go back to the slides. Let's see what's written here. Norton's theorem. Now what happened is that Thevenin was a French person, a Frenchman, and he developed his theorem. And then many years later, we have Norton. I don't know if he's British or American, but from the name, I mean. He came up with another theorem, and we discovered that he said something that's very much kind of in line with what Thevenin already proposed. So we've seen what Thevenin said. Norton said, or Norton theorem, I'm going to read the definition that we had from the textbook. Norton's theorem states that a linear two-terminal circuit can be replaced by an equivalent circuit consisting of a current source IN in parallel with a resistor Rn. Okay. So Thevenin proposed that any two-terminal linear circuit can be replaced with a voltage source in series with resistance. And then now Norton's saying, oh, you know, if you have any two-terminal linear circuit, you can replace it with a current source in parallel with resistance. And that's kind of obvious because, you know, source transformation already tells us that both of these are equivalent models, right? So he said an equivalent circuit consisting of a current source IN in parallel with a resistor Rn. That's the Norton theorem. And let's see how we get those values. I Norton, is the short circuit current through the terminals. So here again, see, like you take your circuit and you create a short circuit between those two terminals A and B, where you're trying to find that equivalent circuit. You try to find the value of this current, I short circuit, and this would be the value of your current source, I Norton, IN. And R Norton is the input or equivalent resistance at the terminals when the independent sources are turned off. So that's exactly the same definition as R Thevenin. Okay, so it's the same. And this is what we wrote down here. That's, you know, R Norton and R Thevenin are, it's the same. It's one and the same thing. So there's nothing new in terms of finding the resistance, but sometimes, you know, in some problems, you want to find the Norton equivalent circuit. Sometimes it's more useful for whatever reason. So you have two options. You can either find the Thevenin equivalent circuit like what we did today, and then perform a source transformation. And then there you go, you have a Norton equivalent circuit, right? Or another way of doing that is to work from the start on finding your Norton equivalent circuit, which means you're going to take your linear two-terminal circuit, you're going to discard any loads that you may have between A and B, you're going to physically create or draw a short circuit between those two nodes. You're going to draw this short circuit line, right, between A and B. And you're going to say that the current that's flowing through this short circuit between those two nodes is I short circuit. You try to find that. And that would be the value of your current I Norton. And then you remove the short circuit, you look again at your original circuit, you try to find the resistance between those two nodes when the independent sources have been taken away. And that would be your resistance, which goes into your Norton model. So the resistance is the same, whether it's R Thevenin or R Norton. You can call it R Thevenin, you can call it R Norton, same thing. So here we have an example. I don't think I have time to finish it right now, I don't want to rush it. But basically what you're trying to do here, it says find the Norton equivalent circuit. If you look at that, that's kind of close to what we already did with Thevenin. We're going to just create a short circuit between A and B, find the current flowing through those two nodes. That will be I Norton, and then we find the resistance. So I'm going to do that next time. Thank you very much.